Bob opens his eyes inside an ancient camp. The first thing he notices is a boy standing near the fire. He looks about 14. He's holding a spear. His hands are shaking. Then something strange happens. He drops it. The boy looks down at his own body. His face turns red. He suddenly looks angry, then confused, then embarrassed. Bob watches him for a few seconds. Then he smiles. He knows exactly what is happening. Puberty. Bob assumes nothing has really changed. Teenagers have always been teenagers. Moody, confused, emotional, desperate for independence, probably convinced their parents understand absolutely nothing. Bob expects the boy to disappear into a cave, slam a wooden door, and refuse to speak to anyone for the next 3 years. But the boy does something Bob does not expect. He walks directly toward the elders. And they are waiting for him, not laughing, not judging, not embarrassed, watching. Because in this ancient world, something important is happening. The boy is growing up. And what happens next is about to completely change the way Bob understands puberty. Bob quietly asks the elder what is wrong with him. The elder looks at Bob, then looks at the boy, and says something that makes Bob uncomfortable. Nothing is wrong with him. His body is changing. Bob looks confused. That's it? The elder nods. But then she explains something Bob never learned in school. Puberty is not simply the moment when a child suddenly gets taller, grows hair, or starts sounding different. Inside the teenage brain, enormous changes are happening. The brain is reorganizing itself. Some connections become stronger, others are removed. Emotions can become more intense. The desire for independence becomes stronger. Risk can suddenly become more attractive. The teenager begins looking beyond the family and toward the wider world. It's almost like the brain is saying, "You are not a child anymore." But there is one problem. The teenager is still learning how to control this new brain. Bob watches the boy stare angrily at another young hunter. A few seconds later, they're laughing together. Bob raises an eyebrow. Yeah. Definitely puberty. The elder laughs, but then she points toward the forest, and suddenly Bob understands something. The tribe does not expect the boy to simply sit around and wait until he becomes an adult. They teach him. The older hunters take him into the forest. They show him how to track animals, how to recognize footprints, how to read the wind, how to find water, how to use tools, how to avoid dangerous plants, how to survive when nobody else is there to help him. The boy makes mistakes. The elders correct him. He tries again. He fails again. They teach him again. And slowly something changes. Nobody announces, "You are officially an adult." Instead, responsibility arrives one piece at a time. Bob suddenly realizes something strange. There is no bedroom for this teenager to hide in. No smartphone, no social media, no video game, no school counselor, no online search telling him what to do. His education is happening directly in front of him. The tribe is his classroom, the forest is his textbook, and the adults around him are his teachers. But Bob notices something else. The girls are going through their own transformation. Several older women are sitting with a young girl near the edge of the camp. They are talking quietly. The girl looks nervous. Bob assumes something terrible is happening. But again, he is wrong. The women are teaching her. They explain the changes happening to her body. They answer questions. They share knowledge that was passed down from mothers to daughters and from older generations to younger ones. There is no single universal Stone Age puberty ritual. Different human societies had different traditions. Some created ceremonies, some used periods of seclusion, some marked the transition with new responsibilities. Others may have had no formal ritual at all. But across human history, one idea appears again and again. Growing up was not supposed to happen completely alone. The knowledge lived inside the community. Older people taught younger people. Girls learned from older women. Boys learned from older men. And everyone slowly learned what it meant to become useful to the group. Bob looks at the teenagers around the fire. Suddenly, he notices something that feels very familiar. They are flirting. They are laughing. They're trying to impress each other. One boy is showing off his strength. A girl rolls her eyes. Bob smiles. Some things never change. Puberty did not magically make ancient teenagers calm and wise. They still experienced attraction, jealousy, embarrassment, competition, anger, fear, and the terrifying realization that everyone in the camp suddenly seems to notice you. Bob whispers, "So teenagers were still awkward 20,000 years ago?" The elder smiles. "Of course." Bob looks relieved. At least he is not alone. But then the elder says something more serious. The boy's changing body was only the beginning. Soon, people would expect more from him. More responsibility, more cooperation, more knowledge, more contribution. And that is where ancient puberty becomes completely different from the modern idea of being a teenager. In many prehistoric societies, there was no long period where someone was physically almost an adult, but socially expected to do almost nothing. Growing up was gradual. A young person might slowly take on more work, more hunting, more gathering, more childcare, more decision-making, more responsibility for other people. Their identity changed because their role changed. Bob watches the boy carry a heavy bundle of wood back into camp. The elder does not clap. She does not give him a trophy. She simply nods. The boy smiles. He knows what that nod means. You are becoming someone we can depend on. And Bob suddenly understands why that matters. Humans evolved in groups. For thousands of generations, survival depended on cooperation. A teenager did not just need to know who they were, they needed to know what they could contribute. But that doesn't mean ancient adolescence was easy. Far from it. Puberty could bring fear, pain, social pressure, dangerous initiation rituals in some cultures, and the transition into adulthood could sometimes be extremely difficult. There was no universal Stone Age experience, but there was something ancient humans understood extremely well. A young person needed guidance, not just punishment. They needed examples, not just instructions. They needed belonging, not just independence. Bob sits beside the fire and watches the young boy talk with the older hunters. The boy is still awkward, still emotional, still learning, but he is no longer standing alone. Someone is teaching him. Someone is watching him. Someone believes he will eventually become useful. Bob suddenly thinks about modern teenagers. They have more information than any generation in human history. They can learn almost anything with a phone. They can communicate with thousands of people. They can see the entire world from a screen. And yet, many teenagers still ask the same ancient question. Who am I? Bob looks at the boy again and finally understands. Maybe puberty was never supposed to be something you simply survive. Maybe it was supposed to be a transition guided by the people around you. Your body changes, your brain changes, your emotions change, and the people around you help you understand what those changes mean. The boy picks up his spear again. This time, his hands are steady. He looks toward the forest. The older hunter stands beside him. The boy takes a deep breath, then walks forward. Bob watches him disappear between the trees. And for the first time, he does not see a child. He sees someone becoming an adult. Bob looks at the fire, then quietly whispers, "Maybe teenagers aren't broken. Maybe they're just growing into a world they don't understand yet." He looks around at the tribe and realizes something even deeper. Maybe modern humans did not invent adolescence. We simply changed the environment around it. The biology is ancient. The confusion is ancient. The desire for independence is ancient. The need for guidance is ancient. And somewhere inside every teenager today, there may still be a Stone Age brain trying to answer the same question humans have asked for thousands of generations. What am I becoming? Bob smiles, then looks directly at the camera. If you want to keep traveling with Bob through the strangest moments in human history, subscribe to the channel, because the next journey is going to be even stranger.